Hey everybody, welcome back to our video series where we take the Word Wielders, the characters of the unseen, and we're going to break them down for you and show you each one of their gifts and abilities as they progress through the game. We're also going to dive a little bit into their personal weapons and some other unseen rules that you might not have noticed. So I hope these videos are going to be helpful for you guys. Stay tuned. Here's the next one. All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to go over two different Word Wielders in one video. The reason being is because Key, the Lion-Hearted, and Asher, the Unbreakable, are brothers. So the game is an extension of the novel extension of the game. If you were to read the backstories, you would find that Asher is Key's older brother. So we're going to put them together today. Let's start with Asher, the Unbreakable. He is a champion, and he is going to get a +1 light boost when using any weapon that has the melee symbol in the upper right hand corner. His starting weapon is called the Peacemaker. It's a blunt weapon, and if you look closely, its blessing is this weapon uses the gift Jawbone. So let's head over to our handy dandy quick guide and find Jawbone. Once per turn, while targeting with melee weapons, roll a 4-sided die with your light die. Add the result of the 4-sided die to your light die total. So you're going to take a white D4 and you're just going to keep it nearby. I like to keep it on the weapon I'm using if it has Jawbone, just to remind me that I have it. So whenever you're attacking, normally you would need a 12 to 13 to hit. So you take your light die, and once per turn, you are able to roll these together. All right, so I got an 11, which wasn't quite enough. But since I rolled a 2 on my Jawbone ability, it takes it to a 13, thereby making my hit successful. Just a little reminder, guys, when you're playing the Unseen, keep this little card right here, the Dark Status card, near you. This will tell you what it takes to hit each enemy in the game. So a Darkness card is a light of 12, 11 or below, you miss. This card is just a reminder for you to know what it takes to go after each enemy. Now, at some point in the game, you will reach a point where it says Dark Status 2. You'll flip it over and the stats of the enemies will change for the remainder of the game. All right, let's look at Asher's first refinement level. So you as a team have taken down the blue stronghold and you have earned your blue refinement level, which is the Boots of Readiness. Asher gains Awake from the Darkness. Now, this ability is really cool because it's one of the few abilities where you can play offensive in both Chosen Phase and Darkness Phase. If your guard fails before taking a burden, you may choose an equipped weapon and roll your light die. If it succeeds, your target is hit. If you miss, you automatically suffer the effects of its strike. This can also be done during Darkness Phase. Let me give you an example. Just a quick reminder, we are using painted miniatures for the purpose of video, but when you buy the game, your miniatures will look like this. This is Asher's miniature. As you can see, it's highly detailed and ready to paint. So here we go, Awake from the Darkness. Asher is in his zone right here with Juniper. Now, he goes to attack, and let's just say he misses, he rolls a 5. That enemy tries to strike back. Now Asher tries to guard, and he rolls a 5, and the enemy rolls a 4, 5, 6, 7. He does not block, so he's still going to take a hit. At that moment, if you have Awake from the Darkness, you get one more chance to choose a weapon and try to strike again. Now he got an 18, which means I would have removed that enemy, and then I do not suffer the effects of that attack. If I would have missed, that enemy would have hit me and I would have been struck with terror because it was fear. This can also happen during Darkness Phase if you were to be attacked. All right, let's look at our next refinement level, which is Yellow. Combined Might. Once during a Chosen Phase, you may spend an action to team up with another wielder in your zone. Each of you chooses a target and you both make a combat roll at the same time. You may target any darkness in a stack, a breach, or a monarch not shrouded in darkness. If you both choose the same target, only one needs to hit to succeed. All LP goes to you. If you both miss, the player using Combined Might makes a guard roll. If it fails, you both suffer the same effects of the strike. So Key and Asher are in the same zone with the King of Suffering. So there's Key, Asher, and then they are up against the King of Suffering. They're both bound because they're in that zone with a monarch. So because Asher has Combined Might, once during a Chosen Phase, he may spend an action to team up with another wielder in his zone. So he's going to spend an action, the other player does not, and he's going to choose the King of Suffering. Key is also going to do the same thing, so you guys roll to attack at the same time. So Key and Asher. Now, Asher got a 17, which is enough to hit, but Key did not. But that's okay, only one of you have to be successful to hit. Now, if you both would have missed, Asher would have to block, and if that block was unsuccessful, then they both suffer the effects of the strike back. Remember, this can only happen if you are in the same zone with another wielder. This can also be used against any enemy type. Okay, so you defeated the Queen of Guilt, and you earned your red refinement level. Asher gains Endurance and Battle Cry. So Endurance is pretty simple. He just gets to add an action token to his action pools. Let's take a look at Battle Cry. It's a free action, meaning you can use it anytime during the chosen phase. You may spend your guidance prayer, trust of 3, to make a battle cry. You and any wielders up to 1 zone away from you have a plus or minus boost of your choice for the remainder of the chosen phase. So let me just explain that really quick. There are 4 different types of boosts you can get in the game. There's a light boost, adds to your light die total. A strike boost reduces the strike die total. So now whenever you see a strike boost, you're usually going to see a minus before it because it's going to debuff your enemy. There's a guard boost, which will increase your guard die, and a guidance boost adds to your guidance die total. So if you decide to make a battle cry, you're going to roll your guidance die. If it's a 3 or better, he got a 10. You get to, at that moment, mention if you want to add a +1 light boost to your light die, your faith die, your strike die, or your guidance die for the remainder of the chosen phase. Now this also goes for any wielders up to 1 zone away from you. So that is Battle Cry. Let's look at the next one. So you've defeated the Counselor of Fear, and your team earns the green refinement level. For Asher, he gains the gift Unbreakable. You have a +1 faith boost. This ability stacks with other faith boosts. Also, if another wielder in your zone guards an attack and it fails, you may make a guard roll at that moment to guard for them. This does not take an action. If your guard fails, you suffer the effects of the attack. This does not stack. This means you cannot use the same rule in conjunction with itself. Alright, let's say Key here tries to strike that guilt and he misses. He rolls to guard and his guard fails. At that moment, before he takes a burden and receives any afflictions that that enemy might use, Asher's going to jump in and try to guard for him. So he'll roll his faith die along with his strike die. He got a 10, which is an automatic block, so he guards for his brother. Now, if I had missed that guard when guarding for somebody else, I would then be the one who suffers the effects instead. And that is Unbreakable. Let's take a look at the next one. So you've defeated the Duke of Sickness, and you and your team have gained the purple refinement level. Now, we've seen this a few times with the previous characters, but if this is the first video you're watching, I'll explain this to you. He has the gift Anointing. Anytime during the chosen phase, you may spend action tokens as if they are guidance prayer tokens to pray for healing. Pray for healing is now a trust of 7. So let's just say they're still in the same zone together. And Key has suffered some burdens. He has 2. If he gets 1 more, he's going to be overwhelmed. So Asher is in his zone, meaning he can pray for healing for him. And typically when he's praying for healing, he needs to roll a 10 on his guidance prayer. So he spends that. And now he only needs to roll a 7 because he has Anointing, but let's just say he rolled a 2. He can now spend his action tokens if he likes to pray for healing along with that guidance boost to that guidance prayer. So he can just keep going. He got an 8 that time. That's all he needed. Key gets to remove a burden. All right, so you and your team of Word Wielders have defeated the King of Suffering, and you all gain the black refinement level, the Belt of Truth. Asher gains the gift Push On. Once during a chosen phase, you may spend an action to move 1 zone. All darkness of 1 type, player's choice, in the new zone are instantly removed. Add them to your LP deck. Push On cannot be combined with any other gift or blessing. Does not apply to breaches or monarchs. Auto/spawn strikes will happen after this action is resolved. This is considered a melee strike. Okay, so again, Asher and Key are right next to the pit. This pit has a huge horde inside of it. This is not a horde, which means they are not bound, but Asher sees an opportunity to go and take out a bunch of enemies. So he's going to use Push On. He's going to spend 1 action, flip that token over, to slide in here and take out all of any 1 enemy type. So he's just going to choose Guilt because they're on top. So he gets to take that one, and that one, and that one, and that that one and that one. That was a good hit. So he takes out all of the guilt in that zone. Place this back. This is still a horde, but he gains all of this LP. Again, you cannot use this against monarchs, breaches, or strongholds. Now, since he moved into the pit, after that action is resolved and he has taken all the enemies out of there, the pit still spawn strikes. So at that moment, a card will come back out, and look at that. Isn't that just like it? Guilt comes out and tries to attack him. He'll have to guard at that moment because the pit spawn strikes. Now, the white refinement level can be earned 2 different ways in this game. You either defeat the Lord of Hatred, or if at any time during the game you roll a 10 and the enemy hits you with their highest strike, which is a 6, that's called Perfect Faith. All the darkness in the zone are destroyed and you gain this for the remainder of the game. Asher earns the gift Burst. Roll a white 6-sided die with your guard rolls. If you successfully guard a strike from the same zone and your white 6-sided die is equal or more than the strike result, the attacking darkness / monarch is automatically hit. This is considered a melee strike. So if you have burst, you're going to add this white d6 to your roll. So he'll roll. Now, if he successfully blocks and this number is higher than this number, is equal or higher than this number, you automatically hit with your shields. This can only be done in your same zone, but it can be done during darkness phase. That's it for Asher. Let's move on to Key. Okay, Key, the Lion-Hearted. Now, Key is probably one of the more complex characters of the game. He is an edifier, which means anytime he's wielding a prayer-type weapon, which it would have this symbol in the upper right-hand corner, he's going to get a +1 light boost. Now, his starting weapon is called the Shepherd's Staff. If equipped, you have the gift Word Wielder. Now, I'm going to explain to you what that means. Let's just say he has gotten himself a prayer equipped in his alternate hand. This is a free action, meaning he can do this anytime during the chosen phase. If you have this gift, place a Page of Light token on your display. Anytime during a chosen phase, you may spend this page token as if it were an action token to make a combat roll using a prayer-type weapon, if one is equipped. Reset this token at the beginning of each chosen phase. Alright, so Key is going to have this little guy right here. As long as he has this ability, he can have this Page of Light token. You can put any color you like there, I just like purple. Now, with Word Wielder, anytime during the chosen phase, he doesn't have to have any actions, he doesn't have to spend any actions, he can choose to spend this, like that, as an action to make a combat roll using a prayer-type weapon. He has Word Wielder, he gets 1 free action, he rolls to attack, and he got a 17, which means he would have been successful in hitting his target, and he also gets to use the blessings on the weapon he used. So this is a distance 0 to 1. After every successful hit with this weapon, you may move 1 zone even if you are bound. So if Key was over here and he was bound, he would be able to move to whatever zone he liked because he used the blessing here. That's just a reminder that you can use multiple blessings and multiple gifts at the same time if they apply to each other. Alright, once Key earns his blue refinement level, he gains the gift Strong Discernment. Strong Discernment is pretty simple. When making a guidance prayer, you may re-roll your guidance die once. If the trust was not enough, the new result takes the place of the first one. Let's just say he has a burden and he wants to pray for healing. So he spends his guidance prayer token and rolls his guidance die. It was a 5, it wasn't enough, but because he has Strong Discernment, he gets to re-roll again. And that was a 9. Still not enough. He would have needed a 10 unless he had the gift Anointing. But that is how Strong Discernment works. Alright, so you and your team have defeated the Prince of Doubt and you all gain your yellow refinement level. Key actually earns 2 gifts during this level. He gets Availeth Much and Bended Knee. Let's look at Availeth Much. Free action means he can do this at any time during the chosen phase. All items can be equipped whenever you like without spending an action. Trading still costs an action. You cannot use this gift during combat, during a darkness phase, or if you are webbed. Okay, so Availeth Much. Let's just say throughout Key's adventures through the assaulted suburbs, he has earned himself quite a large arsenal. Now he wants to swap out some things. He can swap out weapons as freely as he likes, as long as he's not in the midst of combat or it's darkness phase or he's webbed. You can put that there, you can take that there, you can take a shot and then resolve actions and then he can put his shield back on, or you can put a prayer over here, give him Anointing, and so on. So look at your gifts, look at your blessings on your weapons, and prepare yourself for each battle. Key is very dynamic that way. He's able to swap things out. Normally you'd have to spend an action to access your armory, but in his case he does not if he has this gift. Bended Knee. You have a +1 light boost when targeting with prayer weapons. This gift stacks with itself and other light boosts. Pretty simple. You gain a +1 for wielding prayers, and you gain another +1 for wielding prayers if you have Bended Knee. So now this dice would be upped by 2. So you rolled a 7, that's a 9. Keep in mind some weapons also have an added +1 light boost to them, depending on the weapon. So if he were wielding this, because he's using Availeth Much, he can do that for free. He can get a +1, +2, +3. So 3 light boost points with those gifts combined. Divine Protection. Spend 1 action to place a Divine Protection card in your zone. The color of the card blinds the matching color of darkness/breach in that zone. These cards are removed at the beginning of the darkness phase. This can be done when using the gift Word Wielder. If the active card is blind, all other darkness in the stack are blind also. Okay, this is how this works. The moment you gain this ability, you're going to go through and fish out these cards right here. Divine Protection. On the other side, you'll see these burning bushes that are made of stone and lightning. Now, these are going to protect you from being able to be struck back from certain enemies, and they will also blind the enemy that you apply them to. Now, if you guys have the texture pack, you will gain these here, which are just stand-ups of those same cards. So we're going to use those in place of the cards. So Key and Asher are in this zone right here, and they are bound by this horde. Now Key doesn't want to take the chances of losing his current weapon, so he is going to use Divine Protection, so he's going to spend an action, but in his case, since he uses Word Wielder, I'm going to spend that instead and place a Divine Protection wall in that zone. Now this is going to keep me from getting struck back, and I am no longer bound. This also blinds all of the enemies in that zone, so we're going to put a blind token in there to remind us of that. If you don't have the texture pack, you'll have a blind card that you can lay in there also to remind you that things are blind. Now, since the horde is blind, I can either try to strike the enemy and not worry about suffering the consequences of a strike back, or I can just scoot on out of there and be out of danger, one or the other. And that will remain there through the end of the chosen phase. Once darkness phase starts, these all come out, and whoever is in there will be struck by that enemy during darkness phase. All right, you've defeated the Counselor of Fear, and you all have earned your green refinement level. Key gains Burst. Now, we already discussed Burst with Asher before. I'll just give you a quick reminder. It's in the same video, so if you just want to rewind and look at it. When you are guarding, you're going to roll these 3 dice together. If this die is higher than this dice total and you successfully blocked, you hit them with your shields. All right, Spirit Guide them. So you've gained your purple refinement level and you reveal Spirit Guide them. Place a Page of Light token here. Anytime during the chosen phase, you may offer it to another wielder, distance any, to use as an action or a guidance prayer token at that moment. This may be used even if you are webbed, sick, shackled, or overwhelmed. Reset this token at the beginning of each chosen phase. So Key's going to add another page token to his board. Now at any time during the game, it doesn't really matter when, as long as it's during the chosen phase, you can offer this to another friend and they can take an action at that moment, whether they want to pray for guidance, whether they want to move, whether they want to make a combat roll. It's really up to them. At the end of the chosen phase, you reset this token, you'll be able to do it on your next round. All right, let's look at our black level. He gains Dual Wield Prayers. Dual Wield Prayers. If both hand slots are equipped with prayers, add a white 20-sided die to your combat rolls. Blue light die represents your main hand, and your white light die represents your alternate hand. If either hand succeeds, your target is hit. The blessings on each card still apply as normal. Now currently he has Word Wielder, which means he would gain an extra action, but for this case, he wants to be a little more secure in the ability to actually successfully hit. So currently, Key is wielding a melee weapon. It's a staff. And he is also wielding a prayer, but he gained Dual Wield Prayers and he's really excited about that. So he's going to go through his armory and find another prayer type weapon because he has Availeth Much. He can do that, and he's going to place that right there. Now, when he goes to attack, he's got a light die for this hand and a light die for this hand. You gain the blessings of both, so when you're going to attack, you choose both weapons, choose your enemy, and you roll them both. Now, only one of these have to be successful to hit. So he hit with Voice of Thunder, but he did not with the Tree of Life, which means he was successful anyways, and this blessing allows him to move one zone after successfully hit. So Key took out his enemy, the zone is clear, and he's gonna move right up there. Okay, let's check out Key's final ability, his White Refinement level. It is Emmanuel Prayer. For every darkness hit, remove one additional darkness of any other type within the same zone, SP any. You cannot remove two of the same darkness type. You may choose to remove fear with ranged or prayer type weapons as long as the first darkness slain was not fear. Okay, so Key's still in this zone with his brother. There's a giant horde in here, and he wants to take out that suffering. He's going to use dual wield prayers. He's going to go after him. He got a 14 on one, missed with the other, so he was successful. Now, since he has Emmanuel Prayer, he can take out one suffering and another card of any other type. It cannot be suffering, so he'll just take sickness right off the top and collect that LP off to the side. Okay, that does it for today, guys. That is Key and Asher. Stay tuned. We got a few more characters coming down the line. Sparrow, Samsonia, and Arya. Well, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Keep in mind that we're going to be doing more of these videos, one for every character, so that's 9 videos. I'm going to try to put one up a week. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Check us out on theunseen.game.com, and remember, the game is available now. And we're going to be doing some other videos on how to play PvP and some other things. If you like this video, if it was helpful for you, please like, subscribe, post, share. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.